Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Georgiana with Expressions Craft Studio, and I've been playing with this idea in my head about making butterfly wings and just kind of doing a free form. And so this is what I ended up coming up with. This was my wing. I didn't wrap it while it was on the pegs. I wrapped it after the fact, but you could definitely wrap it while it's on the pegs. What it'll do is it'll just give you these little gaps up here toward the top, which is fine if that's what you want. But then you can see what I did was I went and filled it in, and when you do that, those little gaps at the top might be nice, so you can use different shapes to fill it in. Now I just kind of winged it with my sizes and shapes and how I did my elements to add into the loose bits. You could add them or not. I actually like it just kind of freeform like that too, just kind of like it's a shadow or a ghost, but it really just depends on your application. So I'm going to kind of show you how I did this today. I've got my little template here. I will redo that, and I will add a link for that to my Facebook page because it's a little messy and it's not quite accurate. But this is my pen setup. Now ignore these here at the bottom. This I think was for a different butterfly body. I'm not really sure. But these ones at the top here, this is what we're going for. And honestly, if you can remember your pin placement, or you want to print out the template, it might be easier to add them as you go because there are some pretty tight spaces in there. But it is doable. So we're going to start with, I'm using about 1.5 strips of my strips, which were 10.5 inches long. So 15, 16 inches. You can do that however you like. I don't use the whole strip, the whole second strip. I think I use about 5 inches of it or something like that. I'm just going to move that out of my way here. I can't remember exactly. I did measure it, but now I've forgotten what I got. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these two together, and then we'll start working on the board here as soon as I find my glue, which is right there. Right there in plain sight. Now I do glue these as I go around. Each time I go around this bottom or this center, I put the slotted pin in there, but you can put whatever pin you want in there because I don't use the slot, but I do glue every time I come around the base of that. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of preload this. So what I want to do is I want to kind of start, I want to leave enough to wrap around, this first pin. Let's call it that. Let's call it pin number 1. And then you just kind of want to split the difference. I think it's 4 on one side and 5 on the other loops. So this is the way I did it. I went around this middle pin of this 3 pins right there together, and then I'm going to glue it along this little flappy piece there. Flange, I don't know what you call that, but I'm going to glue it right in there. Now I left that a bit longer than I needed to, but I found it was a little easier to hang on to that way. My glue's not exactly cooperating. Alright, so I'm going to find my tweezers here and just give that a little pinch to make sure it's as tight as, tight as I can get it glued there. Oops. Could have gotten it a little bit tighter, but that's alright. So I shouldn't need to glue this one, but I'm going to. Just because I didn't glue the very first one I did, and oh did I have trouble. It kept coming loose. I had to keep putting it back together, which was doable. If you go tight enough around your pins, you can see where your folds are, but it was still a bit of a pain. So now this first one, because it's so tight here, I just kind of want to pull this first loop out of the way to get it around this outside pin. And I wonder if I zoom in, if that'll help. I just got to remember to stay in focus or in camera. So you come around this top outer pin of these 3 that are together right here, and then you want to make sure you go back inside the next pin and all the way down. And this is where we're going to glue it again. I like to keep pressing everything so it's nice and flush with the board. Otherwise you get kind of wonky wings. Alright, so we're going to go back up, and now we're going to go around the third pin in that set of 3 right there. It's just a matter of getting it on the right side of that first piece. This is why I said sometimes it's just easier to add your pins as you go, but it really just depends. You know what, I'm going to pull that out of there if I can. Let me grab my tweezers here, see if that'll help. Okay, so then I can get it right next to that other pin. This is what I mean about it's a tight fit right there. So I'm going to stick that back in there, and then we're going to come down and around, not that pin, but we're going to go up over the top one here, down and around that next pin. So it's like a little triangle. And my glue. Okay. That probably would have been easier if I just pulled those pins out of the corner there. Alright, so now we're going to go back up, and I'm going to pull these bottom 2 out. And we're going to go back up and go around that next one, back down, and glue. And you can leave those pins in if that's easier for you. Just make sure you go behind them instead of on the outside of them, because then you won't get your loops the way you want them. So we're going to go back up. This time we're going to go on the outside of this little triangle shape, up over the top and down around the outside and back down toward the bottom where we're going to glue it again. Now we want to start adding back in our pins, so we pull our strip up, and we're going to go right underneath that one and come back down and around, and we're going to glue. And then we're going to go back up, and you can either go around both of them if you want a bigger loop, or you can do them individually. I went around them individually the first one I did, so that's what I'm going to do here too. Down, and we'll grab our last pin, and we're going to go right in there. We're going to glue. Oops, get it back up there where you can see it. And we're going to go back up over and outside that last pin and down and around. So this is where I want to kind of tear off my strip here. There we go. Made that harder than it needed to be. And then we're just going to try and keep this nice and kind of tight. So let me grab my tweezers here. Yep, slipped out on me. Alright, so what I have left over, so that was 2 strips at 10.5, which was 21 inches, and what I have left over is 4.5, so 17, 18 inches should be more than enough, right? Now this is where I said you could have taken that extra piece and you could have just wrapped it all the way around. I didn't do that on this first one, so I'm not going to do it on this one either. I'm just going to pull out this main pin, this slotted pin, and then everything else should come off nice and easy. Alright, put that pin back in so I don't lose it. And there you go. You've got 2 wings. Now let's get them going the right way. So you can do those however you want, you know, as far as your angles go. What I did to make like the bottom wing on this one was I just used one side of my board, and I wanted it shorter. I didn't want it to go all the way out here, my loops, so I just used this side of my board, I think. So let's grab another strip. And one strip may be enough for this, I don't remember. Alright, so then I'm going to go up, and we're going to go in and out of this top one here. So on the inside of this shorter one, but the tallest of the shorter ones, if that makes sense. And then we're going to come back around on the inside of these two and down. And then we're going to go back up around that middle one there of those three and back down. And I'm just kind of trying to keep my strip all the way down to the board. There we go. Sorry, got my hands in the way there. A little bit of glue, wrap it back around. Again, just kind of keeping everything flush with the board. We're going to go back up on the inside of these two pegs here, down around the top of those two, and then back on the inside of that one. And we're going to glue it again. Now this is where I think I did use another pen. I think I probably went up one more time here. Oh, I can get it going. All right, let's go up. There we go. Add our little drop of glue. And then we're going to go on the inside of this last pin and wrap around it to the outside and come down and glue. Now this is where I think I did add another pin, but my strip's a little short and I was using longer ones last time. So I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to leave it like that. And we're going to tear that off here. Add a little bit of glue to the end. Probably could have added a little bit more than that. It's such a fine line between how much glue do you really need to get a good hold and how much is too much. And honestly, that really just depends on your glue. Oops. Alright, again, I'm just going to lift out that slotted one and everything kind of comes up with it. Put it back in there. And so, oops, let's see if I'll get that lined up. So you can do your wings then like that if you want. I don't think that's how I did it. Well, of course I did wrap mine, so they ended up coming out a little bit tighter. I wonder if that looks good on top even. Yeah. So, and if you wrap them, you get more separation out of them. And one of the other things I did do is I did give a little bit of a pinch down here. Even though it's glued, I wanted to just kind of bring it in a little tighter. That glue's pretty crusty looking. Might have to flip that one over this way. And this one, do this one this way. Now, one of the things I saw from one of the creators, I believe it was the Paper Craftery, she did admit that she uses, I won't say admit like it's some kind of hidden secret, she did say that she uses clear glue on black or dark strips because otherwise it doesn't matter what she does, the glue shows up. And so I do think that's a good thing to know. Oh yeah, that's pretty. Okay, well, shall we do the last one real quick, and then we can make our body if we want to do that. So we're going to go down here. We're just going to give ourselves a little bit of a flap right there. We actually want to come up the middle, I believe, is what we did. No, we came up the outside one. Yeah. This is where notes really help, if you're as forgetful as I am now. I used to have such a good memory, but there are things that factor in as you get older that make it not so good anymore. All right, we got a nice tight fit there, so we're going to add some glue. Well, it looks like it's dried, so we'll add a little bit of glue. I'll just take my tweezers and give it a little pinch. There we go. All right, so again, we're going to go back up on the right side of these 3 pins right here. I wish that showed up better for you. I'm sorry that it doesn't. And can we get that all the way down? There we go. So when we wrap back around that top one, then we want to come inside on those bottom 2 that are right underneath it. And we want to glue. And we're going to go back up around that middle one. Maybe. If I can get my, there we go. And we're going to come right back down around that middle one, like that. And again, we're going to glue it. Now, this is just, I just freeformed this. That doesn't mean somebody else out there hasn't done it like this before. If there's a pattern out there, I'm not aware of it. So the point of this was just to show you how easy it is to make stuff like butterflies that are just all different in nature, and the same can be said for flower petals for that matter. Just have fun with it. It doesn't have to look exactly like something that exists in nature. It can be fanciful. All right, so we're going to go back up again to around this 3rd peg and down. Just trying to get my strip to ease down in between there. That bottom strip is kind of catching it. There we go. Or that previous loop, I should say, was catching it. So we're going to come down, we're going to glue. Maybe, there we go. Go from just a dab to too much. And then we're going to go up and just around this bottom loop next to our slotted pin. And was that all I did? 1, 2, 3, yep, that was all we did. And so then you're just going to rip off any extra there. Unless you decide to loop it, wrap it while it's on the pins. And maybe we could do one, maybe we should do one like that just to see how it looks. I'm just pressing that strip, that glue, into get a good seal on it. There we go. Okay, pull that out. And giving it a little pinch down here. Is that the apex? Is that what that's called? Alright, so let's bring these back in. I don't like that one's got the glue on it. Let's see what this one looks. Let's flip them. Let's flip them. So the way these came out, you could actually just glue those together like that if you wanted to. I think that actually looks like a nice butterfly. And then if you choose to go back in and fill that, you'll just make coils and teardrops and You'll probably have to practice with your strips, especially if you're freeforming. You won't know what size you need, but you'll know, you need some little ones and you'll need some bigger ones. So what I did with the body on this one was I made separate coils. I didn't intend to fill them, but I just was playing around and stuck a little coil inside that hole there. I thought I'd probably put gemstones on top of them, so that's why I didn't make them tight coils, because I didn't think it mattered. But you can do that however you want. You can do, these, each one gets a little bit smaller than the next. I think these two middle ones are the same size, and then this one's a little smaller, and then they just get smaller going down, if I remember correctly. Or you could do, like a big eye shape or marquee, I think they call it. You can do this any number of ways. You can make tight coils, whereas I did loose ones. So just, use your imagination, do what works for you. And I'm trying to decide right now what I want to do. And I think we're going to use a comb. Let's use this one. And I'm going to get a strip here. I'm going to need more than that, though, I'm pretty sure. So maybe I'll take and I'll glue one of these longer ones to it, one of these longer cut-offs. And then if I don't need it, I'll just tear it off. There we go. Alright, so let's start wrapping this. And I think I'm going to start with, I usually do 2, but I think I'm going to, well, let's just go ahead and do 2. Yeah, I think it's probably easier doing 3, and since these teeth are so close together, that would make it considerably easier, but we'll just do 2. So I'm just looping that around. I'm not using any glue. I'm just looping it and then trying to hold it. And we're just going to start at the bottom and go up every other tooth, which gets hard to do here when you got your finger in the way. And you can glue that if it's easier for you. I go back and forth between it being easier and not easier. So once you get a couple loops done, you won't have to hold on to it as tightly. Okay, so now I'm just trying to, oh, you couldn't see any of that, so I'm so sorry. Let me zoom. Well, I think we're okay now. So I'm just going to keep going until I run out of strip, unless I decide I've got it long enough, and then I'll tear off some of my strip. Want the next one? There we go. So each time I go around, I just kind of tap my finger on the back to hold that in place. Wrap and tap. Oops, that's 2. We're going to go wrap and tap. And ideally what you want to do is you want your body long enough that it's going to hang out above and below, I started to say the feathers, the wings. Otherwise it will look, I think it'll look a little deformed, if you will. Just lining up the edges of my strips there. I might not have put enough on here. I might have should have used 2 strips. But when we squeeze it out, it will get a little bit longer when I pinch it. Alright, so we'll try that. If we need to do it again, we will, especially since I was off camera for part of that. Just lining up my strip there. Trying to anyway. There we go. Just a little bit of glue. We'll pull that off and see if it's long enough. If not, I'll do it again with 2 strips. And it looks like I might have missed a tooth when I was doing it, but that's okay. So I'm going to make this part the head. This will be the tail. So I'm just going to come down and I'm going to pinch it really tight. Does it look long enough? It's a little short, but you know what we could do? We could add a coil to the top of it so it's like a separate head. Now I'm going to kind of play and see if I can make a nice vortex here in the center. It's the way it's going to be shaped. I don't think I'm going to be able to see it, but let's just try. Okay. Yeah. Squishing it back out just moves everything right back where it was. Okay, so let's make another little coil for the head. So I've got, now I'm just going to use, I've got this piece. I wonder if it's long enough. Let's try it. It's, what is it? It's 4 inches. Maybe if we let it uncoil, otherwise it's going to be a pinhead. Let's see here. Oh, that'll work. Okay, so I'm going to take and glue that down. So that was, what did we say, 4 inches, and I just let it uncoil and I'm gluing it down. So then we've got this little piece here, which may not be long enough for antenna. Let's see. I'm thinking it's going to be a little short. They'd be a little stubby the way I want to do it, which is wrapping it around my coil. I usually make them longer, but I don't know that I need to, right? I don't know. I think that's too short. So, I don't want to do that. The other thing I could do is I could just glue it to the top like that. Why don't we just do that? We'll just add a little dollop of glue. That's where I want the bottom, so we'll just do this here. Trying something new here, which may or may not work. Especially since I'm not able to hold it. All right, let me put it down. Where'd my glue go? It's right there. Try that again. Just lay that down there and take and push this. Not sticking. I'm just trying to get a little curve on it, and I ended up pulling it off of there again. Alright, let's do it like this. Add some glue. Where did I want to figure out where it was. You know what? Maybe we should shape him a little ovally. You know what I mean? And then try to center that. And just push it up here where you can see me, and off it comes again. I am not having good luck with this today. And I don't think there's enough glue left on there. Alright, let me reshape this a little bit, this coil. It's kind of gotten weird on me. And I just want it to be a little bitty ovally, so it's kind of like what I imagine a butterfly head would look like. Alright, let's try this again. We're going to add some glue. I'm going to make a little room here. Of course, my glue's dried up again. Oh dear. Let's see. There we go. I think I got it. Alright. I'm going to set that down. And I'm going to take this and just stick it right to it. And of course, it doesn't look like I really got it in the middle necessarily. And I'm going to work my way in there and then pinch it. Okay. Let's do it again, just for good measure. And it seems like it's turning on me. Okay, well, in my attempts to save and just use what I had here, I didn't mean to make so much extra work for myself. But I certainly have, haven't I? Let's see if that'll do it. Still doesn't seem like it's really attached very well. Normally what I would do, and what I should have done, I should have just wrapped it around the whole head. But I was just trying to use this little bitty strip that I had. And you can see how well that did not necessarily work out for me. I should say. Speak up a little bit. Okay, maybe we can make this work. Put a little bit under this side if I can get a hold of it. That's way more than I needed. And I'm just going to kind of push that down. So I don't know if you can see what I'm doing there. I'm just kind of reforming this little strip for the antennae around the head of the butterfly, which may not even be usable when I'm all said and done. See, like, looky there. I may have to redo the whole thing. But then again, maybe not. Okay. we've got something going on here. I don't know what, but we got something going on. So if we attach that to that, and then we get our wings here. Did I get them all flipped around crazy? I think I did. Nope, there we go. And that to that. Do I need to pinch the body down a little bit more? I think I need to pinch it again. And maybe pinch the top up here a little bit. Let's see about that. Uh-oh, there we go. I think that's better. Okay. So this is where my board, my cork board and pins would come in really handy if I had that handy, but I don't. So I think what we'll just do is we'll just glue these wings together on each side first of all. Going to apply a little pressure till that glue takes hold. And, well, it would be easier if I had glued all the way down. All the way down those connecting strips. But I didn't. But that, oh yeah, see, there it goes, coming apart. Okay, let's try it again. There we go. Pinch it with the tweezers, see if that'll help. And while that's drying, we will do these two. Now, set it down on the table here. Oops. There we go. Hang on to that. That one I think finally glued together pretty good. And let's go ahead and glue our body to our head. Just trying to get a little bit of glue on the tip here. There we go. And I'm just kind of lining it up on my board so I can hopefully keep it as straight as possible. Not off to a great start. There we go. His head wants to keep tipping. There we go. So we'll let that dry. We've got our second set of wings here. So then we will just attach those something like that. Looks like I didn't quite line them up the same, so that might be a bit of an issue. I'm just going to try to bend it a little bit and see, or refold it and see if that makes a difference. That helped a little. Alright, so let's put some glue here where it's going to connect to the body. And where do we want that? Like right about there, I think. I'm just going to hold that for a few seconds. And we'll do the same thing with this side. Some glue in that seam where they come together, and then a little bit on each side. It's not wanting to come out very well. Okay, I feel like I need a little bit more than that. Okay, where's my pen? There we go. That's more like it. Well, I was trying to get a white sheet of paper here to make it a little bit easier to see. There we go. So what I would have done, and maybe I'll use another coil and I'll fill that head in there a little bit, because it's a little bit vacant. He's not got a lot going on up there. Alright, so even though I didn't want to, unless I've got some black coils around here somewhere. Nope, I don't. So we're going to take and we're going to do a nice tight one here. And then try to fit it down in there. So, oh, really? Get on there. So I don't know if my glue is not sticking as well because I've used another pen that's rusting in there a little bit, and maybe rust isn't all that sticky. I don't know, but that's why my glue's not white. I need to find another pen that's actually stainless steel. I know I have some. Well, the reason I wanted to pick that up though was because I wanted to loosen this coil in his head, just so I could squeeze something else in there. That might be easier said than done. Well, we'll try. Just kind of get those top and bottom flush there. And it came loose on me. Dang it. I knew I should have took it off of there and rolled it by hand. Okay, let's see if we could just tighten it up. Yeah, but not tight enough, I don't think. Alright, let's start again. I frequently let it slip when I'm trying to make everything flush. Okay, I'm going to take it off of there and just wind it by hand. Now that's pretty big. I don't think I'll even get all of that in there. Let's see, how am I going to do this? Yeah, that wouldn't all fit even if I hadn't done that. So let's unwind a little bit. Make it a little bit smaller. We're going to zoom back out because I cannot keep it in that little bitty frame while I'm trying to do this. So I'm going to take my tweezers and just hold that for now and find my other pair of tweezers, which are right here, and see if I can't spread that inner coil out. You know what, maybe this will work better. Helped a little bit, but it's still a little bit. Okay. Now, did I get it big enough? No. It's closer though. Alright, you know what? I'm going to do something I would not recommend to anybody else. I'm going to try to slip in here and just cut that center part of that coil out. Did I not cut it all the way? Nope, I didn't. Okay, now I gotta put it back together. There we go. Okay, so will this fit in there? I think it might be a little too big still. Okay. So we're going to uncoil a little bit more. So this is what I get for not wanting to waste my strips. I end up wasting my strips. Okay, that will go in there. So I'm going to pull that out a little bit just so it's going to be easier to let it go. And then I'm going to put some glue around the outside. My glue's probably dried up. Oh, okay. So the way I envision this working is I'll get that nestled down in there and then let it uncoil, except I let go of it a little too quickly. Dang. I'm going to take a little bit more off of it. So today's lesson is how not to do this. But it's a good lesson on maybe how you can fix something if you're not happy with it. Okay. That. Just want to get a little bit of a grip on that. Come on now. Let's try it like that. There we go. All right. Try and dry fit one more time. Huh. I was sure that would work. But it doesn't seem like it should be too big, but it still doesn't want to go in there. Let's do another inch or two. Okay, now it will fit. So now we're going to do the whole glue thing again. So I definitely, like I said, I wouldn't advise doing it this way for a couple of reasons. One, the more you pick it up and handle it, the more likely it is to kind of come apart on you. Okay, there we go. Two, I've managed to get glue all over everything. It's going to require a lot of Wink-A-Stella to cover up all that glue, which is why I mentioned what the paper craftery said about using clear glue on the black. Just trying to get that antenna folded a little bit better. All right, so now you have a butterfly, and he's pretty. He's kind of lacy looking, and he was a freeform, and this has taken way too long to show you what should have been an easy thing to do. But if I had not done it out of order and made sure I didn't, wasn't trying to save the strip, I don't know why. But this is the point where I would go in and I would make different size coils in different types of coils, maybe looped coils, just whatever. And then I would go in and fill those spaces. Now this little scrap is way too tiny for that, but maybe it'll work on this bottom. One of these bottom or top loops. Alright, let me zoom back in. So then what I would do is I would take my little, this is a teardrop. I just made this with one of those little black scraps. I didn't glue it, so it might give me trouble in that front. And I would just slip it in. Yeah, it's gonna, it is hard to see the black on black too, by the way. You know what, let's do it this way. Okay, so I just kind of go slip it in like that, get it in far enough, and then push the back down, and it just kind of fills that in. So, oh, there we go. See how that's the one I just did versus the one that's still empty. And I would glue it in if that's where I was going to leave it, but I don't know that I am. You can just push it back out of there. So you can use different colors. You can do it however you want. I've got a little piece of purple here. It's not very long. It's longer than the black one. Let's see what that'll give us. So we'll just coil that up, and then I think I'm going to just let it relax to wherever it's going to go. Looks like it's done. I would Fortunately, these are all pretty much teardrops unless you wanted to do different shapes in there. I like trying to put the teardrops in because they do go in pretty nicely. Like, I don't know if that's going to be too big for that one, so we'll put it in this one. See? So one of the things I found that I could do is by making them a little bit smaller than the actual finished shape is you can now take them and push them forward toward the tip, add your glue, and then push it back up. And that just kind of comes back together naturally anyway. So it looks nice. So there you go. What should have been a quick and easy lesson I have managed to turn into another rambling, whatever, epic adventure. All right, that's what we call Kevin Costner movies, epic adventures, because they're always so long. Anyway, I love Kevin Costner, don't get me wrong. So with that said, back to our original butterfly. This one I did wrap each of the portions of the wings. I didn't do it when it was on the husking board. I took it off the husking board and then wrapped it. You can do that either way. Again, if you do it on the husking board, you're going to have bigger gaps down here where your loops are. It might not be as round. It just is going to kind of depend. You'll have to play with it and see. But it's pretty easy to just make a little freeform butterfly. And actually this one's quite a bit bigger than most of them I would even want. So, but I think it's pretty. It's lacy and you can tell it's a butterfly. So I do need to glue back his antenna down more. But anyway, thanks for joining me. If I remember to do it while I'm editing, I'll put timestamps in so you can, fast forward through the rambles and through the, through my mess. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate y'all. Let me know if you have any questions or if there's anything special you want to see. And I hope you had a great holiday weekend. It's Labor Day in 2024. And it's beautiful here in Arkansas. So hopefully it's nice where you're at too. So again, thank you guys. And until next time, happy crafting.